Hello party people, Greg Patton here, and I wanted to make a quick video about why I'm excited for the Xbox Series X release. Now that a few people have received them, they've been able to give their impressions on just the backwards compatibility. We know a little bit more about the Series X. And yes, I was lucky enough to be able to pre-order a Series X. I happened to get mine through the Microsoft Store, so that makes me feel pretty confident that I'll be getting it on launch day. But if not, Fuser's coming out, and Fuser is one of my most anticipated games coming from Harmonix, who makes Rock Band. And by the way, Harmonix, if you're watching this, could you please let us know if our Rock Band instruments are going to work with these new consoles? That'd be great. Anyway, getting back on topic, the Series X is releasing on November 10th. And now that we are closing in on just about a month away, we know the impressions are going to start to come in regarding other things other than the quick resume and the backwards compatibility. But I wanted to talk quickly today about a couple of things that I'm excited about. First, the impressions have done a great job of making people very excited. If you were on the fence about pre-ordering an Xbox Series X, these impressions have done a fantastic job of making you feel confident about your pre-order, about the money that you're either going to be charged later for or that you put down now. And what really has stood out has been the ability to quick resume and the ability of seeing faster loading times. Sure, back in the spring, pre-pandemic, Microsoft continually was showing to the media how fast quick resume worked, where it was 5 to 8 seconds of jumping around between several games. Well, now we're aware through many different people who have showcased what quick resume looks like, that you can do as many as 6 to possibly 10 games depending on the file size. That you will now even have the ability to unplug your console. And when you plug it back in, you will be able to pick up the game in single player games, mostly. You will be able to pick up where you left off. This is unheard of. Yes, quick resume existed on the original Xbox One, but it was for one game. And it tended not to work because it would always kick you back to the load screen because you would be disconnected from the internet. This is a huge step forward, and these impressions have made me very excited to be able to try it out. Now, I'm not saying that I want to play 7 games at the same time. All I'm saying is that it will be pretty cool to step away from a game for a week and come back and see you're exactly in the same spot you left your character. It almost has like a fun kind of, you left your toys as a kid in the closet and you think they have their own secret life going on feeling to it, where it just feels like this is something new that we're going to all be able to enjoy. Okay, the loading times. If you saw the Digital Foundry video, you saw that one of the big games that has always had loading issues has been Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, Red Dead Redemption 2's loading times usually average somewhere around 2 minutes and 20 seconds to 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But to see Red Dead Redemption 2 load as fast as just under a minute, and then to actually fast travel to see the screen take less than 20 seconds, that's a huge upgrade and shows you the power of the SSDs. These quality of life improvements are the thing that I think we're all going to enjoy in the very beginning. Because I think due to the pandemic, it's not realistic to expect a bunch of brand new games that are going to be coming out for these consoles. I think you're going to see staggered launches. I think that's why it's so important that you saw exclusives being bought for timing. For instance, Sony's got 2 Bethesda exclusives, now Bethesda being owned by Microsoft, that are timed exclusives in Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. Both those games are going to come to PlayStation 5 first, because I think we're going to see things like staggered launches. We're going to see games that are going to be remastered. The Control Ultimate Edition, the Spider-Man Remastered Edition that comes in the Ultimate Edition with Miles Morales. I really feel that we're going to see a lot of this stuff in the beginning. Of course we're going to have Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs and Cyberpunk 2077 available in the launch window. But the real question is when will these next-gen patches come? Cyberpunk really seems to be dedicated to coming out early 2021. We'll have to wait to see if any improvements are ready to go on Assassin's Creed or Watch Dogs. Ubisoft has claimed they will be, but again, it's a launch. There's going to be problems. There's going to be staggered launches around the global release because we're already in a situation where certain countries aren't getting them the same day that the Americas is. All right, another thing that has me very excited about this is your back catalog. Series X has done such a great job with the messaging, and it shows in these impression videos that have been coming out this week. They've done a fantastic job of telling you, hey, all of your Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox games that are currently in the backwards compatible program, they're going to be ready for you to play when you want to play them. Now granted, in this the impression mode we're getting right now, since it is the very beginning, there are only 500 backwards compatible games available. Now we can expect to see more games will be released throughout these impression videos, but at this time all we have to go on are the games that are currently available. But the games are really impressive. To actually see Grand Theft Auto 4 able to hit 60 frames per second without even a patch. This is something that we didn't think was probably going to happen. But we're seeing an increase in frame rates, and we're seeing the lack of screen tearing that we're used to. Even current gen games right now have had staggered launch issues because of the fact they are not able to run in perfect frame rates and have great visuals. But so far with Series X, we are seeing a lot of improvements with 360 games, with Xbox One games that have uncapped frame rates, and that will only get better and better. When you have a backlog of games right now on your Xbox, you now have this very good feeling, almost safety, in regards to that your backwards compatible games are going to play better than they've ever played. And think about if those games get Series X enhanced, what they'll be able to do. Everyone's waiting to see Destiny 2 and Gears of War 5 running at 120 frames. Now we know Destiny 2 is going to be at 60 with a patch at launch. Again, it's coming launch day, so if you play Destiny 2, you're hopeful that that patch will be there day one. But again, launches are staggered. You have to be patient for these things. We're really going to know around Thanksgiving just how good the launches for these consoles were. All right, the quality of life improvements. Yes, it's great to have faster loading times. It's great to have backwards compatibility. But the ideal that your Xbox now boots so quickly and the UI works flawlessly. All of the impression videos that have shown the operating system that we all currently have if you own an Xbox have seen huge improvements in speed. And I don't know about you, but how many times can you load your games off an external hard drive and wait for them to load and load and load? Haven't seen any of that. And indeed, I would say the biggest concern right now for a lot of people is going to be storage. Now that we know the Xbox Series X on day one is about 820 gigs after you take away the operating system and quick resume, a lot of people are going to be concerned about, do I need more space? Well, the proprietary Seagate 1 terabyte card is out there. You can pre-order those, but it is pricey at the $219 price point. Now, if you're an expert on PC SSDs, you're probably already saying, Greg, that's about the right price. It's a little more expensive because of proprietary. And I agree with you. I think we're going to see the prices of these cards come down over time. But as of now, because it's new technology, you are paying a heavier price for it. I think some of the things that the quality of life is going to bring with the Xbox are going to be simple things like the controller with the rubber textured bumpers. I think the share button working automatically is going to be a good replacement for Kinect, although there are still some Kinect games that I enjoy. I do think that we are headed into the next generation feeling much more at ease than we were going into PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I feel like what we're seeing from companies is confidence in that this is going to be a generation that is going to be a leap forward. I think a lot of people in the media have expressed this, and I kind of agree with this, that we were at the point with the PS4 and the Xbox One with their small upgrades to Pro and X. I would say that we felt they were being held back a bit. PC gaming had started to take over in ways that I don't think we could have anticipated in terms of frame rates and visual fidelity. And now it's good to see with SSDs that the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5 are going to be able to take advantage of more modern technology. I think the thing that really stands out going into this generation is that you're future-proofing your systems. Will we see upgraded versions of these consoles? Of course we will. But I think if you're one of those people who doesn't buy things day one, you're going to feel very confident in what you're purchasing now, that it's going to not be something that you feel you have to upgrade as soon as something comes along. I do think the memory space is a concern, but if they are able to, with the SSDs, shrink the installs, go from maybe, we've seen it already, a couple games that are saying they're going to go from 85 gigs to about 70 gigs, that extra space is going to be a big deal. And I think that we have to keep our eyes on the memory situation. If more companies come along and start selling SSD cards that are proprietary, that Microsoft and Sony both support different companies, we may see the prices drop faster than we think, and that's going to be a good thing, especially with the cost of next-gen games going up in the $69, $70 range. I'm very interested to see what else we're going to hear about the PlayStation 5 because there have been no PlayStation 5 impressions yet. They're not out there yet, but there are reports that we should see next week in Japan at least, that Japanese YouTubers will be getting PlayStation 5s to test out. So we'll have to live vicariously through them. I think we're going to have to keep an eye on if memory prices do start to drop, because I think that's the biggest concern going into this generation. But hey, that's just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments if you're picking up a Series X or S and what you plan to do on day one. And if you enjoy the content, do us a favor and subscribe. I'm Greg Patton saying, if you can't play sports, play video games.